My name's Pip, and I've created some Office tutorials specifically with students in mind. Citing references can be really time-consuming, and Word has a great feature that will speed that up for you and automate much of the process. So I'm going to demonstrate how to use that. You're still going to need an understanding of APA rules, particularly according to the edition that you're working from, but Word, as I said, will do a lot of the work for you. So I'm going to be demonstrating in Word 365 on a PC, but if you're using a Mac, it's very similar, so I suggest you follow through, and I'll give you some specific Mac tips at the end of each video. So what we're going to be covering is we're going to be creating reference sources. We're going to be inserting those citations into your document. Then in the next video, we'll go back to editing those citations, modifying them, moving them around, then managing your sources across documents to save you time. And then we'll finish up with creating and formatting that final references list at the end of your document. So the first two items will be covered in part one, so let's get to it. If you find the video helpful, please like it at the bottom and subscribe to my channel and pass the information on to your student friends. For part one of this three-step series, we're going to dive straight into creating sources and inserting citations into your document. So have your source materials to hand, either physically or in your browser. Okay, so I'm going to start by positioning my cursor where a citation is required. I'm just going to use the end of this first paragraph. There's no need to leave a space. Word will do that automatically for you. Then I'm going to go up to the menu and choose References. And I'm going to be using this Citations and Bibliography group here. So the first thing that I need to do is to make sure that my style is set to APA. So if I click the drop-down arrow here, APA is currently listed as being the 6th edition, although we're actually in the 7th at the moment. Because the changes are fairly minor, Word has kept with the 6th edition for now, but obviously up to you to make sure that you are following the rules of the 7th edition. Then we're going to go to Insert Citation, and I have two choices. The first is to add a new placeholder. So if I select that one, I can change the name at this point if I want, or just leave it. I'll click OK. Now what it will do, if I click in there, it's put a little placeholder literally in here to mark my place where I need to come back later and insert a citation. So really helpful if you're mid-creative flow with your document, don't want to stop and put the details in at this point, but need a reminder to come back and do it later. So we'll leave that one there and come back and deal with it another time. Okay, so the second type of citation I can insert, if I just move my cursor back up to Insert Citation, this time I'm going to choose Add New Source. So it brings up the Create Source dialog box. The first thing that I need to select is the type of source. You can see that you've got quite an extensive list here. So to keep things simple, I'm just going to choose Book. And then I can click into my first field ready to put in my author. Now the fields here are the recommended fields for the type of source that you've chosen, in my case a book. If you don't see a field that you are hoping to put in, click the Show All Bibliography Fields box down here, and it will open up a wide variety of different fields. So you can probably find the one you're looking for in there. You'll note that the original ones, the ones that are recommended, are the ones with the red star next to it. So those are the ones that you should be filling in probably at a minimum. Okay, I'll just hide those again. Okay, so I'm ready now to complete my information. So I'm going to start by putting in my first author. Now, as you move around these boxes, you can just click, that's fine, or you can use your Tab key to move forwards and your Shift and Tab key to move backwards. Or if you have something on the clipboard, like a URL, you can right-click and choose Paste. So I'm going to put in my first author, typing in the full name. If I have more than one, I can put in a semicolon and then continue with the second author. However, if you have more than two, what I like to do here is use the Edit button on the right, which brings up a little Edit Name dialog box, and it allows me to put in the names in a slightly more structured way. So if I put my next one in here, and then click Add, it starts to appear in the list at the bottom, and I can repeat that as many times as I need. So I'll click OK, and then I'm ready to fill in the rest of the fields. So I'm going to skip forward at this point and just complete the other fields. So I've completed all the fields that I need for this book, so now I can click OK. And here's my citation directly in where my cursor was. And again, it's been put in a little placeholder. You can see there's a few little buttons here, and we'll come back and look at those later. The important thing to point out here is that if I want to cite that same source somewhere else in the document, let's just say further down here, what I can do now is go up to insert citation, and it now appears in that list. So if I click it again, I can use that same source as many times as I want in this particular document. So step 2 is going to be demonstrating how to modify those citations, dealing with the little placeholders, and also how to manage your sources. So let's move to the second video, so I'll see you in a moment. There are a couple of differences on the Mac which are worth noting, so I'll point those out to you now. The first thing is while you still have the same references menu, when you go to insert citation, it goes straight to the create source dialog box and doesn't give you those two first options. However, if you just want that blank placeholder, you can just click OK here without filling in any of the fields, and it will insert it in a little placeholder box in the same way. The other difference on the Mac is that they have this citations option in the menu here. So when I click on that, it opens up a separate pane to the right, and I've got all my sources that I have in this document listed. So I can click on one and I can double click it, and it will insert it directly into wherever my cursor is, which was here. And I can keep this open the whole time that I'm working on my document, which is quite useful. And when you finish with it, then you can just click the X. And that's pretty much it on the Mac. Those are the main changes so far.